Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Drunk Camera Reviews. Today we have a camera here that I didn't even know existed until it popped up on a Facebook group, and I was just, how would you say it? I was entranced, and I had to get it. I had no previous understanding that this camera was even ever made until I saw it there, so I just had to go and buy it. So here it is, the Canon MC. Now the Canon MC, the MC stands for Micro Compact. Canon made two different versions of this. They made the MC, and then they made the MC10. Now the MC10 is a fixed focus 35mm f4.5 lens, while this one is a non-fixed focus 35mm f2.8 lens. That's pretty dang sharp. I enjoy this lens. Now this camera was released in April of 1984, while the MC10 was released March of 1985. But that's really all I know about the history of the MC. So now let's go on to the actual inner workings of the camera and give you a little tour around it. Now as you can see, this camera is basically a very simple clamshell styled, how'd you say clamshell? It's got a sliding door, kind of like the Olympus XA series, and the Stylus Epic has the same thing. I think there's a few others that use this exact same style, which basically you just slide it open and there you go, you are off to the races. And as you can see, opening that reveals you got that gorgeous 35mm f2.8 lens, along with the two focusing sensors that kind of open up as well, because you can see they kind of slide open when you actually and there it's kind of like kind of like the way that the Contax G2 and G1 focus. It basically uses these two sensors to almost like a rangefinder to be able to focus the lens. Now this gives you an advantage over cameras like the Leica Minilux and the Olympus Stylus Epic, as those are kind of laser rangefinder focusing. This one allows you to focus through windows, which is super convenient. The downside is it only focuses down to 3 feet. Kind of a bummer. A lot of other cameras I have, they can focus a lot closer. And the other thing that this thing will do, which seriously pisses me off, it doesn't really tell you that you're focused too close. It'll just take the picture. It just doesn't give you any warning. It'll just take the picture, and then you're stuck with out of focus shots. It's annoying. It's definitely very annoying. Another thing that is revealed when you do open that little sliding door is you have the ISO dial, which is right down here at the bottom, and it goes from 64 all the way up to 1000 ISO. Doesn't go higher than that. So sorry if you wanted to shoot like Natura 1600 or Ilford 3200, even the new Portra T-Max 3200, you can't shoot that. It is too high for you. The other thing that's weird is it goes straight from 400 ISO to 1000 ISO. There's no in between, there's no 800. So if you're shooting Portra 800, sorry, you're gonna have to shoot it at 1000 or shoot it at 400, there's no in between. It's very strange. But that's basically all there is on the front of this camera. Of course, you have the sensor for the exposure, and you have the front window and the viewfinder, and you also have your flash module right over there on your right side. Now, moving along to the top of the camera, you have, of course, your shutter release, your film counter, of course, those are two very normal things, and then you also have your self-timer pre-focus switch. Now, this thing, with most cameras, when you half press the shutter, it'll lock your focus in to wherever you, and then you can recompose wherever you need to go. This one doesn't. Basically, you have to flip this switch, and then you press the shutter button once, and that'll set your focus distance, and then you recompose, and then you press it again, and then it will fire. Kind of cumbersome. It's something that you can easily forget when you're shooting. So this camera, I basically just did it as one where I'm just gonna, no recomposing, just point and shoot. That's it. You also have your flash module unlock button, because the module on here, it actually can come off, but with this one, it's a bit of a pain. I think the actual mechanism in here is stuck, because when I first got this camera, I took it all apart because I wanted to make sure that everything was working properly. So I disconnected the flash module and I couldn't get it reattached. So I have just decided to leave this thing on there. Don't fuck with it. because I don't know how long this camera's gonna last. So don't mess with it. Leave the flash module on. The flash works great. It is super bright. You will blind the shit out of people, but it's very, very nice. It's a very good flash. But yeah, that's basically everything on the top of the camera. Now moving down to the back of the camera, you of course have your viewfinder. Now this viewfinder is super nice because it's basically one of the largest ones I've seen on at least any of my film cameras. It is quite huge. One of the nice things that you do have in there is the frame lines are kind of determined by how bright your setting is, because it's kind of a reflection based frame line. So it's not like a Leica where you have your separate window which basically displays all of your frame lines. It's all reflected internal. So if you're in a dark area, those frame lines are going to be super dark, but if you're out in the sun, the frame lines are going to be super bright, which is nice. Along with that, you're going to have in there your focusing scale, which gives you, I think it's 4 different, basically like identifiers for how far the lens is focused at. It's kind of handy, but they confused the shit out of me with how the hell they determined these symbols. Because I mean, the first one, the closest one, of course, is like a portrait. Like it's got a heads up or a shoulder up picture of a person, just like a stick figure. And then it's got, what is it, like 2 people and they're each are missing an arm? Like, are their arms around each other? I don't know what the heck they were going by that. And then they have a family with a child? So I guess it's like a slightly larger family portrait from the first one. And then it's just a mountain. There's no in between. There's no like, oh, maybe like there's a lake. Nope, goes from a family portrait to a mountain. I don't know who drunkenly came up with those, but I guess Canon was just hoping you would know how far that was. Also you have in there your battery checker light, which basically if you put your hand over the lens and press the shutter button, it will show a little flashing red light that'll let you know that your battery's still good. And now next to the viewfinder right here, there's a little window with some red stripy things, and that is actually how you know that the film is advancing properly. Now when you shoot it, or when you load it and shoot it, you'll notice that if this isn't moving, you've loaded the film wrong, and it does move quite a little bit. So when the film is winding, you'll see this thing moving back and forth, and that'll let you know that the film is winding. Now what you also have is the film door, which has a little window conveniently so that you can see what film is in there. Currently I have Superior 200 in there because I don't know this thing's top shutter speed. I think it's like 1/500th of a second. It's not too bad. Better than the Mini Lux, which is only 1/400th. And you also have, of course, the flash, which has a little power button back here, which is convenient because you can either turn it on or off. There's no real hassle with that. It's not like the Mini Lux where you have to push it 7 times just to be able to turn the fucking flash off. Pain in the ass. Now we move on to the bottom of the camera, which you have your film, or not your film door, your fucking battery door, which conveniently this camera just takes some AAA batteries. Same with the flash. Just pop this open right there. You've got just 2 AAA batteries in there. And I think the battery life on this is working pretty well. I've been shooting it for a month or 2 now, and I'm still on my first set of batteries. And luckily AA's are super cheap compared to the CR123A batteries that the Mini Lux and the Olympus Stylus Epic use, and those ones are a lot harder to find. So these ones, just AAA's, super convenient. Also, I think most of the Canon point and shoots use AAA's, so I guess that's just par for the course for Canon. Oh, that was a gross burp. You also have your film rewind, which you just push that, rewinds the film. Actually, let's see, I'll just go and shoot a little bit more, and then I'll show you what the inside looks like. Now, time for my personal thoughts on the Canon MC. One thing I kind of hate about this camera is just the feel of it. I understand a lot of Canon compact cameras, even Nikon compact cameras, and Pentax and Minolta, they're all very plasticky. I guess I'm just kind of spoiled with my Mini Lux and my Stylus, as those, they feel good. They feel good in the hands. The Canon MC, it's very, very plasticky. It kind of has no real finesse to it. The shutter button is super weak. The motor on this one does sound very weak. That's kind of something that you just have to deal with older film cameras. I know a lot of people deal with that. I mean, similar with the Canon or with the Mini Lux having the error of death where it just stops working altogether. The Olympus Stylus Epic, that one has an error which can kill it as well. These ones, I believe the motors on them just aren't very good. This one sounds incredibly weak. And honestly, I think one issue with mine is, it only happened to me once, one roll of film, but it basically was acting like the flash wasn't synced properly, but there was no flash. It was a normal sunny day, but it was cutting off half of my pictures. And that was kind of an issue, but it only happened once, one roll of film. It hasn't happened since. I need to figure out what's going on with it. If I need to replace anything on the camera, hopefully I can still find spare parts for this thing, as I haven't been able to find one. I mean, eBay has a few, but really this thing is pretty tough to find. Luckily, even if it does die, it'll make a really nice shelf piece, because this was probably when Canon was at their game, like top of their game with their, I don't know, their design, because I really loved the design of this camera. The red and gold writing looks super nice. The camera's kind of this blue gray-ish. I'm not sure you can see it too much on the camera itself or in the video, but I really love the way this camera does look, and the convenience of having this little built-in strap as well makes it nice to just throw it around your shoulder, go off and shoot. And it's been a great little carry your own camera. It's something that I can bring when I don't want to bring the stylus, or when I don't want to bring the mini lux out. I can just throw this around my shoulder and go and take some pictures. And they usually turn out pretty good. I'll throw like a few of them up here. Black and white color. The color looks super nice. It's got that Canon warmness to it. I've noticed that with a lot of their film lenses. They're a lot warmer than other cameras. It's kind of strange, but I do really love this camera. And if you do have a chance to pick one up, I would implore you to go and buy a Canon MC wherever you can find one, and just go out and have some fun with it. It's really a fantastic camera. Now, that's going to be it for me today. If you like this video, be sure to give it a like and maybe subscribe. Check out some of my other videos. I've got another video coming up pretty shortly. I'm probably going to be doing a film review. I know some people have asked for film reviews, but actually some slide film reviews as well. And I also just picked up a new printer, so I may be doing potentially some film printing, and maybe I'll even do a giveaway. Who knows? Send someone maybe one of my prints, whatever one they wanted. Who cares? So that's going to be it for me today. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you have a good rest of your week.